Yeah, turmoil, huh? I just keep turning on the news to see if we're still here. I am. I'm shocked. I'm shocked with what happened with Israel's attack on Iran. Um, I pray for the Iranians. I pray for the Israelis. I pray for cooler heads, wisdom. I pray for the international community that we would that we'd be willing to that we'd be bold and courageous enough to demand a cessation to hostilities. You know, it's one of those things. Israel launches an attack against Iran, and they say it's preemptive because they need to keep Iran from getting nuclear weapons, despite the fact that for the last 25 years, 30 years, people have been claiming that Iran was going to get nuclear weapons the next 2 or 3 years, and that just hasn't materialized. And it's not been because of constant attacks that kept them in limbo. It's just that it never materialized. And so, this weekend, of course, Israel attacks Iran, and Iran, they fire back because they have the right to defend themselves. And if we push Israel on this and say, what are you doing with this preemptive thing? They'll say, well, other countries preemptively attack and defend themselves. The United States did it, and we have a right to do it as well, and so on and so forth until the end of time. And take this shooting, this shooting in Minnesota. And what's going to happen? Well, we're going to find out that this person was conservative or a liberal, and if he happens to be on the same team as some people, they will say, well, he was justified because the other side did it too, right? So, for example, if this guy was, I don't know, let's say this guy was a Republican, and he did these horrible things because he attacked two Democratic state lawmakers in Minnesota and their spouses, and maybe the Republicans will stand up. Yeah, but don't you remember that guy who attacked the softball game? Wasn't that in Washington or Virginia, somewhere near DC? Don't you see? So the liberals do it too, or the left does it too, or the right does it too, or the Republicans do it too, blah, 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 blah. And then, it just makes me want to beat my head against the wall, because all we're actually saying there is, I'm allowed to do it because somebody else did it. It doesn't mean that I liked it when they did it. No, I was probably absolutely offended and out of my tree, angry at the whole thing. But now that it's okay because somebody else did it first. All we're doing, we're measuring our greatness against others, and that will not make us great. That will not make us great. There is no way that can make us great. If I look at you and say, well, if she did that, therefore I can do this. Should I be basing my life on what you do? Should you be basing your life on what I do? Absolutely not. We should be basing our lives on something greater, right? We should be basing our lives on something bigger, something more, something higher. We should be struggling to attain something higher. So we look around, okay, and we say, well, who is the greatest among us? That's what we should be aiming for, right? Who is the greatest among us? That's what we should be striving to be like. And then, for a Christian, we would say, well, the greatest among us is Christ. And so I'm going to try to be like him. And others, maybe they say, well, it's our prophet, or it's this deity. Okay, great. Then you strive to be like them. Or you strive to be like the one they're pointing you to. But we've got to stop trying to be like one another. We have to stop settling. We have to stop settling, because that's really what it is, isn't it? We're settling to be like the worst of what we see out there. And then we defend it, right? We defend it when we behave that. We attack when they do it, and then we defend it when we do the same thing. So there's absolutely an element of hypocrisy there. But we're not even going to touch on that for the moment. We got to be greater. We have to be better. We have to be bigger. Have to be bolder and stronger. We have to try to be divine. We have to try to be godly. And we must be willing to hold those standards against not only the people we disagree with, but the people we agree with. When the people we support fall short of that glory, we must be willing to critique. And we must be allowed to critique. We must be willing to say, no. I do not defend this. This was wrong. You missed the mark. We've got to be willing to say the emperor's got no clothes on, or at least there's holes in their underwear. But no, we'll defend it. Somebody else did it, so we're allowed to do it too. Somebody else did it, so my friend's allowed to do it too. Somebody else did it, so my country, my politician, my leader, my whatever is allowed to do it too. No. My dad, I used to, and maybe some of you, if any of you grew up around a bridge, maybe you heard this before, but where I grew up in Miramichi, there's this great big tall bridge called the Centennial Bridge. And I would say, all my friends are going to the mall. And my dad would say, well, if they all jumped off the bridge, would you want to jump too? Or, all my friends are going to the concert. Well, if all your friends jumped off the bridge, would you want to go too? Well, all my friends are doing this or doing that. Well, if all your friends wanted to jump off the bridge, would you want to follow them do that? Like every time, like ad nauseum. Maybe that's why I've chosen not to live around in view of any great big bridges, but that's part of it, isn't it? Just because others are doing it doesn't mean we should. Just because our loved ones, just because our messiahs are choosing to do it, doesn't mean we should defend them. It doesn't mean we should be silent about their actions. As a matter of fact, I think probably the onus is even heavier on us, because I've supported you and I've propped you up, and now you're letting me down. Now you're not behaving in the ways that I think you should be trying to behave. You're not striving to be the kind of person that I thought you were. And therefore you're going to hear from me. The world's going to hear from me. We're better than this. And if we can let go of this silly habit, if we can let go of this silly coping mechanism, if we can let go of this, what is, I think, a very weak and cowardly way of going through life, we can become better, because we'll be holding ourselves to a higher standard, and we can demand more from those who ask for our support, because we want them to be striving for that higher standard. I don't want to be like the people I see who are making mistakes. I don't want to be like the people I see who are falling short. I don't want to be like the hypocrites. I don't want to be like the liars. I don't want to be like the phony leaders we have. I don't want to be like the selfish and the greedy. I want to be something more. Amen.